All right, guys, we got to talk about Trump's ballroom because things are just getting out of hand over here. From delays to plans never being finalized to not following proper code or zoning requirements to expanding the project beyond what's even feasible to apparently now he's even switched out and got a new architect that's heading the design. We got to talk about this. So let's dive into what's going on with the ballroom. So what started as a 500-seat ballroom connected to the East Wing grew to 650 seats. Next, he wanted a 999-seat ballroom, then room for 1,350. So it just kept going up and up and up. Even as Mr. Trump assured the public in July that the ballroom would not touch the existing structure, he already had approved plans to demolish the East Wing to make way for something that could hold several thousand people, according to three people familiar with the timeline. The latest plan, which officials said was still preliminary, calls for a ballroom much larger than the West Wing and the executive mansion. Mr. Trump has said publicly that he would like a ballroom big enough to hold a crowd for a presidential inauguration. So this thing has grown pretty much exponentially since its initial design, and now it's apparently going to be bigger than the entire White House combined. The size of the project was not the only issue raising alarms. Mr. Trump also told people working on the ballroom that they did not need to follow permitting, zoning, or code requirements because the structure is on White House grounds, according to three people familiar with his comments. The firms involved have insisted on following industry standards. Thank goodness for the firms. So why has Trump been so obsessed about building this ballroom at the White House? Is it just a dream that he's had as a kid? He's always wanted this? Well, Mr. Trump has wanted to build a ballroom at the White House for years. During the Obama administration, he pitched the idea of constructing a $100 million version of his Mar-a-Lago ballroom, but Obama associates never followed up on his offer, a slight that has stayed with Mr. Trump. The ballroom Mr. Trump is planning now is more than 4 times as large as the 20,000 square foot one at Mar-a-Lago. Aware of potential resistance to the project, Mr. Trump has pushed to remove any obstacle that could slow down his vision. He has installed his former personal lawyer as the chairman of the National Capital Planning Commission, which is supposed to review plans for the project. That lawyer, Will Scharf, has said that there was no need to review Mr. Trump's plans before he ordered the demolition of the East Wing. So Trump is just demolishing parts of the White House, the people's house, with no oversight, no pushback, and no one even reviewing his plans. The president has also said that the firm excavating the site initially told him the work would cost $3.2 million, but that he pressured the company to accept just $2 million. The short timetable for the project, which the president has said he wants to be completed before 2029, has led to some embarrassing mistakes. The various plans released so far, including a rushed model made by a contractor, have included windows that collide into each other and a staircase to nowhere. And here we see a picture of one of the latest designs, which includes the 1,350 seat capacity. You can see just how massive this thing is. And over there is the White House itself, so you can see just the comparison is absolutely huge. Mr. Trump has said taxpayers are not on the hook for the ballroom, whose costs have risen by 50% from $200 million to $300 million. The president has said he has already raised $350 million from donors, including from major tech and crypto companies, and that businesses pledged to donate all of the steel and air conditioning. But that payment method means going around Congress to fund the project, cutting legislators out of having any say over its direction. So just another dictator-like move of President Trump. The Ballroom project is Mr. Trump's latest push to remake the White House in his own image. He has added gold moldings and gold decorations throughout the Oval Office and gold ornaments to the Cabinet Room. He removed a photo of Hillary Clinton, the former First Lady and Secretary of State, and replaced it with an image of his own face colored with an American flag. He added marble floors and a chandelier to the Palm Room. He paved over the rose garden grass to add a patio. Along the West Wing colonnade, he added gold-frame photos of every American president except his predecessor, Joe Biden, whom he depicted as an auto pen. Now, this is, again, just something that a 10-year-old would do if put in the place of Trump. Mike, what do you think of all these things we're learning about this grand ballroom project that Trump has? That's apparently he's trying to rush to get it done within the next 3-4 years. What do you make of all this?
I think that the idea of having a presidential ballroom of this magnitude or something like that personally, I'm not too against it, but the fact that he's had to demolish the East Wing, especially after promising us that he wasn't even going to touch it, um, that makes me a bit uncomfortable and uneasy. And another thing that really disturbs me about this ballroom is something that I can't remember if it was really mentioned much in that article, but these donors that are backing it, they're all these major, I believe it mentioned major tech and crypto companies, but why would they get behind it? Is it because, oh, they're just really patriotic and this is what they want to see? No, this is just a form of bribery. They want tariff exemptions. They want merger, good favor towards upcoming mergers and other favors and things like that in exchange. I mean, it's blatantly obvious. And you mentioned that they want to use it for the inauguration. And let's not forget what happened during his inauguration in this term. All those same billionaires were in the room right with him, while his supporters were literally out in the cold. And they thought they were going to have a seat inside the rotunda, and they were all denied. So now he's sort of officially consolidating, hey, we want to move in this direction. Forget the people. Let's not have the people out here. We're going to have a private party to inaugurate me, and not the people who voted me in, but the people who funneled me in, who paid for me to come in. So yeah, and another thing about these companies funding all this stuff is that it bypasses Congress, as you mentioned in the article as well. And that's another big concern that I have, is this constant consolidation of power within the executive branch. We don't need Congress. We don't need to care what the representatives of the people have to say, effectively saying, I don't care what the people have to say about this. I don't need approval. I don't need watchdogs. I'm just going to do what I want to do. I've got my billionaires, my funding. I'm good. And we see that also with his hiring of this personal lawyer. He's been doing that all throughout in these other cases as well. So there's a lot to be concerned with, but as far as the general construction project, I hope it goes well. It'll be interesting to see how it turns out. But the fact that they've got a staircase to nowhere, and that just seems like very poor planning. And like you mentioned, if nobody's even approving of these plans or reviewing them first, then, what can we expect from it?
Yeah, I think what's wildest to me is that these plans are not even finalized, yet the demolition has continued. The demolition is pretty much done at this point. The East Wing is gone, yet they're still working on plans, yet he's still trying to find an architect for this project. That's just that echoes just the poor management of this whole thing. And the other note is, what's fascinating to me is the psychological aspect of, like, how much did Obama affect this decision of Trump to want to build this ballroom? The article mentioned, when Obama was in office, Trump kind of floated this idea of, I want to build a ballroom. What do you guys think? And they basically told him to go fuck himself, or they didn't respond to him at all. And that kind of reminds me of the whole White House Correspondents' Dinner moment, where Trump is there trying to get in with the elites and fit in, and then everyone's just laughing and mocking him and ignoring him. I wonder how much of that moment of the ballroom is, like, now his chance to really, like, drive in the stake and put his name on it and host it at the White House.
Right. And also, speaking about Obama, that reminds me a lot of, it's an interesting comparison too, when you think about it, about how he doesn't have the plans finalized, but he's trying to destroy and dismantle the White House already. Like, it's pretty much already demolished, right? So, but when you look at like Obamacare, it's the same thing. He's trying to dismantle and destroy Obamacare, repeal it, get rid of it. But what's he going to replace it with? Nothing. And so, and why is he so against Obamacare? Is it because he truly believes it's a bad program? I don't think so, because time and time and time again, he extends it. And we're even seeing that happen right in front of us now. But I think there is just this thing about Obama that's always been under his skin. So, and not to mention, again, with the inaugurations, Obama's inauguration was pretty historic. And that was one of Trump's like earliest and first craziest things, is that he was hardcore addicted that, like, I've got the biggest crowd size ever. Nobody's had them as big as me, when you can see very clearly there's photo evidence that proves Obama's crowd was way bigger. So if you have it indoors, then hey, you know, if you only limit it to 1,000 people, then yeah, I guess everybody's got massive turnout.
Yeah, the first press briefing that they gave under Trump's first term was addressing the inauguration crowd size. That was literally like the first topic that they discussed, which kind of set the tone for the rest of his presidency. And here we see it playing back again with this ballroom situation. I wonder about upcoming elections and campaigns, how many people are going to run on the fact that they're going to tear this thing down, or they're going to, make sure that any hint of Trump gets taken out of all the things he's done, from, the gold moldings to the Lincoln bedroom bathroom renos to the ballroom. I think, and of course all the pictures that he's been changing around there. I wonder how much of that is going to play into the campaigns upcoming.
Yeah, I mean, they mentioned that every president tends to add their own decorations here and there, and so the gold, the gold stuff is no surprise. Trump has always liked gold, um, but the fact that he gets extremely petty with it, where he's putting gold frames around everybody except Biden, and then he's swapping Biden's picture out with an auto pen and Hillary's picture with a picture of himself with a flag on his face. It's just embarrassing to see a president of like behave this way. This is something that I'd expect, like you said, either a child or just some random person, but to have them represent us on a global stage is like, it's just disgusting.